talk about living raw and vulnerable. Playing the flute was start learning to play the flute, doing something that you know is something that is going to expose you. People can make fun of you. What is making fun of anyway? But people can challenge you and thinking, oh, aren't you embarrassed about that? Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're not that good at it. Those people are usually the people that aren't doing the things that you are when you're going all out and being vulnerable. But how do you allow yourself to be out there and vulnerable and still know that it's okay? Hi, my name is Rhonda. This is Unleash Your Moxy. We're going to be talking about vulnerability. I'm going to do it on the heels of me being in the health and wellness industry for more than 25 years. So I want to connect your nervous system to your body feeling calm. Your nervous system really sets up that energy that's going to create full, all out vibrato vitality. Or if your nervous system is stressed or you're naysaying yourself with the vulnerable space you're in and you're trying to shut yourself down because of all that history, just saying you're this, you're that, and the blaming and shaming starts happening. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this and Unleash Your Moxy today, because this is what's going to help us grab and open up space for the whole week. We get to meet every Monday. We get to get in there and be real tenacious and truly enjoy life. Life is incredible. It's fabulous, but it's also humbling. All right, let's get into it. Take a deep breath in and just be. Be at the moment, be in the space that helps you just take on the stuff that you really want to take on. What is that? What is the journey that you are on right now? What is, question for you. What is stopping you from going all out? Now, there's things that you may not be able to hear that you are like, oh, yeah. And when you start staying quiet, meditating, going to Mother Earth, just being, there's something that comes out of that. So today for our resources, I'm going to be using a quote from 14 Days to a Flat Belly, which is one of my books I did probably almost 10 years ago, something like that. Oh, it's been crazy. Then I'm going to bring in the Wake Up and Heal Your Moxy Sexy, Wealthy Life and Business Pillars: Freedom, Safety, and Healing. We are right on the vulnerability part here. This right here is what I've been seeing that people, that when I'm coaching, people leverage off this, making $250,000 to get their business up and going, up and moving before they really even catapult out of that. But these steps and strategies is what's going to connect you to your next thing when you get more comfortable with it. So this is really important because we're trying to increase our level into freedom. The more that we can feel our freedom, the more that our heart will open up, the more cohesive our energy will be. Nervous system. Take a deep breath in. Bring that energy in. Open up that chest. And when you exhale, let everything liquefy that's ready to let go. Inhale and be open to receive energy. Receive. Feeling fabulous today. Not just great. If somebody comes to you and says, how are you doing? You go, oh, I'm doing great. That's mediocre. When you look at the definition, and that's last week's Unleash Your Moxy, there's a lot in there about, oh, I'm great. Oh, I'm doing great. Oh, I'm just doing great. But what about me challenging you saying, yeah, I'm doing fabulous? And, in my feeling, why fabulous is so big is I can see Zsa Zsa Gabor, and if anybody knows who that is, and her sister is on Green Acres. And if you know what that is, and they would always say, fabulous, darling, fabulous, and your pearls and, I'm playing and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is, fabulous is something where you're being big, badass, bold. And the more bold you become, the more that you get raw, you get bold, you can become you. You live this lifestyle that you believed maybe a year ago or a month ago you didn't believe that you could actually step into. And that's what Unleash Your Moxy is about. It's about feeling tenacious, excited for what the next thing that you are wanting to do, things that you may not be able to see. So today I'm going to also be bringing in U squared, which is all about quantum leaping. It's something you can't see right now, but if you work in the to-do list and you work in just whatever you can see here and now instead of releasing and letting it go, which is something I was talking to my husband about this morning. Me learning how to release and let go. I'm going to tell you a story in a moment, and it's going to be about releasing, letting go, and anxiety. I'm going to pick a page from here just by closing my eyes and pick a page. And we'll see what the U squared quantum leap is talking about. All right. Now, before I go into my story, I'm going to take a quote from my book here. And it says, "There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than one you are capable of living." Typical Unleash Your Moxy. Typical that you are like, nope, I'm not going to stay in this mediocre. I'm not going to stay in just this great life. I'm going to be living a fabulous life. Where does that take you? Where does that take you? Where do you want it to take you? Add anything to the chat to open this up for us. We're going live on YouTube. We're right in Facebook. We're right live in the Hive. But where does this take you? Where does your passion take you? You know, not when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have that raw feeling. Nothing like that. This is more where you get to grow from those experiences, not hide, open yourself up, bounce back up, and feel the passion that you can have in life, the energy, the flow, the reality of that. Maybe you came from experiences where you didn't believe that you could have things that you really thought that you really wanted. And you start dreaming really big. And you realize that the dreaming is not getting you anywhere because inside your nervous system keeps getting shooken up. And your nerves are saying, no, you can't have that. You can't have this. And that's where we get the body alignment. That's where we calm the body. This is the only way that we can get what we want, is to be able to attract it in a way we can feel it, that we trust it, that we know that we are going in the right direction. Now, the right direction is one that you feel you're taking your hands out of it, bringing your heart up. Oh, I can feel that. Oh, I can feel that. Bringing your heart up, and you're going, yes, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep protecting what I believe I'm capable of in living. Nelson Mandela. 14 Days to Flat Belly. That is on Amazon. All right. That's on Amazon. Okay, so I had this dream, a couple more things here. I had this dream, and let me back up actually in this story. Okay, so almost a week and a half ago, I was in Idaho. I live in California. I was with my auntie and my family. My auntie was getting ready to transition. I spent time with the family. It was incredible. It just felt so much in alignment, so good to be with everybody. Wanting to get my heart out so much to myself of what I was going through, which was confusing. Like, what does this mean? My aunt is like transitioning, and she did so much for me, and so many times throughout my high school years, have so much to share with her, but she pretty much is ready to transition just within that day or a few days. I didn't know when she was going to leave us. So I had to hunker in deep into my bones and know that my auntie was still there and that I could still talk to her. Instead of feeling like I had to vocally say something and hoping she could hear it, which she was reacting to us. So you knew that she was, that she was around. And I could feel her presence. Oh, and this is what freaks me out, because I wouldn't believe all this stuff if I wasn't in our industry around mindset transformation entertainment, like that transformation that we really believe what we're reaching for is what we can have. So I come in, reach, and give my auntie a hug. And on my face, I felt this like pull towards her body, like this, and I could feel energetically that my auntie was giving me a hug. And it scared the heck out of me. I didn't even say anything because I truly believe this stuff. So it's not that I didn't want to say it. It was that it woke me up to being woken. Have you ever had that experience? Something that you keep saying, give me a sign, or however you say it, because sometimes we don't say it exactly like that. We're just kind of, questioning things like, is that true? Do I really believe that? And so do you have anything in your life that you feel that, wow, life is magical? I can feel some spiritual things going on that maybe I can't see, or maybe you can see, because some people can see things. Okay, so that's a question for you. Get your journal. Make sure you're writing. Make sure you're writing. So then let's pivot on the conversation here. Let's keep going through this. Okay, so then it was time for me to leave. And so I said goodbye to everybody, but I got special time one-on-one with my auntie. Then I got special time with my uncle, her husband that was watching her transition, and all these really powerful emotions he was going through. And it was, if you were thinking about it this way, then it's very powerful. But a man that was broken and saying, "Oh my gosh, what does this mean?" And so we had a great conversation about that. That's great. So I went home because my auntie still didn't pass away. She was just kind of hanging out, waiting for certain people to come and visit her. And I started having this big anxiety. I knew that besides dealing with my auntie passing on, that something was like just like poke, 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 poke. Those things, those times, that you just keep getting poked, and like you can ignore it or you can go and do something about it. Well, I didn't know what to do about it yet, because I'm just like thinking, oh my gosh, like this is like really big. Why am I having this anxiety? I can't really breathe. Like it was like for like a week and a half, I have not been able to really deeply breathe. And so my body has been feeling exhausted. My creativity, I'm getting some peaks here and there. Like, oh, because so big, because most of the time I was feeling pushed down and barely breathing. And when I'm working out, I feel like I don't have enough oxygen in my body and my muscles because of this anxiety. So I woke up in the middle of the night right before Unleash Your Moxy night. And all of a sudden, I was like blaming everybody for everything. And yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have talk with this person. I'm going to talk to that person and, get things straight and all this kind of stuff. And there's this full circle. Well, first, I have a question for you. Have you gotten to this space where you just like want to blame things on everybody? I feel this way because so and so did this. I want that person to stop because they are doing something that's affecting me, and I want to tell them not to do that. So I opened up my hands, and I all of a sudden started hearing, Rhonda, you want to allow people to be. You're here to nurture and love. You coming at somebody is not going to change anything because you're blaming somebody else. And this is all of a sudden, this is what I'm hearing this morning. So go out there and keep being the big, bold person that you want to be. Like what Nelson Mandela said right in this book. And all of a sudden, the victim space left. Just kept moving on. And all of a sudden, I felt even a deeper responsibility and love and scared factor in my life. This is like I felt something so big that I start crying because I'm like, I'm finally taking on the responsibility. Like I was telling my hubby this, so if I get mad at you, that's me needing to come back to myself and understand what am I trying to control? Because I'm not showing up a certain way that I want to. Does that make sense? Anybody have anything to say about that? Does that make sense to you? Like if I'm upset at that person because I want them to act a certain way, be a certain thing, it's my choice to be there. It's my choice to take it on. I can't change anybody, and that's the truth. Because that person can try and change, and they will if they really love you for like 24 hours, because they haven't gone to their nervous system and gone through their transformation to be able to get to where you're asking them to go. The cerebrally, you're asking them to change, but their nervous system hasn't gotten there yet. Except they're probably scared and they want you there, and so they're going to try and change. But how are they going to do that without using the tools, without looking at quotes like this, without believing that they can quantum leap, without recognizing that they have freedom, safety, and healing that they can work through so they can get in truth with how they're showing up. So all the work that you're doing right now, that's great. And that helps you make those decisions. But if you're not making those decisions in the way that you're honoring your growth, then that is telling somebody to change that they can't feel it, they don't understand it. And it's going to shut them down, or it's going to accelerate their energy and their adrenaline. And it's going to keep going and going and going because they're going to remind themselves that they want to change, But the talk therapy comes here in the cycles in reconciling. But it never really connected to be cohesive with the heart, the love that you have for yourself, for what you're doing. So if they haven't done those steps, and I think about this with my 18-year-old that's getting ready to go to college, my 20-year-old that is getting ready to move to Washington, well, how can I expect them to walk out of this house and take all their learnings and be exactly who they are at this point, but be able to catapult in their life just by having me as their mom, Jeff as their dad, and everything's going to be okay? There's all these experiences that they have to have that they know they're going to be okay. They're going to be scared and concerned about different things that I don't even know what they're going to be going through until they get to experience. I get to take the control out of their experiences because my scared factor has nothing to do with what my daughter's going to deal with or my son's going to deal with, because they're coming through their own eyes and their experience. I don't understand how that is for them. So same thing with your partner, is that you want to give them space to understand you and what you're feeling and going through, so they can be quiet with their own emotion and they can feel it, and they can feel your transformation. They can feel the tools that you're doing, and it'll take them somewhere, but you don't know where. And you want to take the control out of that because that's the Moxy lifestyle. That's the Moxy lifestyle. That's you being tenacious and big and bad and bold and saying, this is what I feel, and that's it. Allow things to play out the way they're going to play out. Because the trials and tribulations of a relationship with anything is that you're saying, these are my boundaries. And then they get to learn and add on what they need to. Does that make sense? I hope so. Because there's so much more in there. But that story is like That we can keep talking about that all day. It brings up so many big things. So many big things. Oh, it says, get uncomfortable with the U Squared book. This book, when I first got this book, I had no idea what it meant. I'd read it and I'd go like, well, how does that apply? And I was so far removed from even believing there was anything bigger. Like it confused me. So get uncomfortable. Quantum leaps jerk you out of your comfort zone. So that today we're talking about vulnerability, showing up in a vulnerable space. Prepare yourself for a pretty wild ride. You're going to cover some unfamiliar terrain and encounter obstacles you've never faced before. It can feel like your safety chain linking you with behavior patterns that worked in the past is being stretched to the limit. At times, you may wonder if the situation is about to spin out of control. Think back in those times when you felt that you were out of control. You had the choice to feel shame, to blame yourself, to pull yourself down and say, I don't like the way you show up when you show up like that. And you're just pushing and pushing yourself down because you feel that link that wants to break because everything is new and it just shakes you up. It shakes your nervous system up. You're like, I can't wait for this event to be over. That's the beautiful pivot point. That is where you get to decide. Am I going to go in a new direction because this is shaking me up because this path that I'm on right now, it's not taking me where I want to go. And that's what's shaking me up. Or are you going to take that path still or off to the side and go and numb yourself in any way you want to numb yourself that you do. And you don't learn from that experience except you keep going in your cycle over and over in depression that you may not even notice, or the pressing down or the anxiety sits deeper with you because now you just had another event that connected with past events. And now that's called your self-fulfilling prophecy. You just added on to your energy bank in the red. You pulled tons of energy out. It added to your cycles that you've been adding on to every part of your life, every event. And now you can elongate your depression even longer and longer and longer. So remember when you were younger, let's go here. When you were younger, things were happening, but you weren't depressed. It was just that you were scared or different things were happening, but you didn't have a lot of history. So then you'd bounce back and you'd forget. But things were happening that started your patterns of you starting to blame and shame yourself for things. But you didn't have any scale to go off of because it was people that you felt safe around, that you thought those are the people that you were around, that you're like, okay, they got my back. Because as a kid, you're just out there playing. Those seeds that were grown at that time, you keep getting event after event after event because those become your beliefs. And all of a sudden you see your life ahead of you with all those prejudices, the pains, the things you're afraid of, the things you don't want to be around because you don't understand it. So now is the time to get uncomfortable in this Quantum Leap book. I'm not going to read this part right here. You can find this book on Amazon, but this is one of our resources today. And it says, uneasiness is a predictable psychological reaction when a quantum leap is underway. So uneasiness. And when I started being unpredictable, when I started thinking about this, like, I want to see black and white. I want to see how to get here or there. It was very confusing because I didn't know cerebral wise how this lands. You'll understand it more once you start opening yourself up and you release, you let things go. So if somebody says something to you, this is a good example. If someone says something to you, well, that's not right. Well, let me tell you my opinion, because my opinion is better than yours. And they may not say that last line, but they'll say that in a way of, you're wrong. This is what I think. Or you'll share something with somebody and they'll say, well, for me, this is how I feel. And I'm like, well, can we give a moment for what I was just saying I was going through, that this is how I feel? And maybe it's you, may be wrong, but I don't need to be told that I'm wrong because I'm learning about myself. I want a safe space so that I can create the safety around what I'm feeling right now. And the more that we hear and see ourselves, the more the truth comes out of who we really are. So think about where your boundaries are and where you feel you want to be more and more educated about who you are. And it'll just come. It'll flow. This book will make more and more sense about that. You really can't see where you're going to quantum leap, because your to-do list all of a sudden is going to not just be black and white. You're going to say, this is my project list. I'm going to hunker it down to what I can handle for today. And I'm going to start doing these steps. But if you hold on and you do black and white, this is each step I'm going to do, and you're like drilling it. And if you keep drilling it, then you're just going to go straight and you can't see anything else. And it's going to be robotic, but you're not going to be able to take a step back and see a better way. Sometimes the brain only knows what the brain knows because of what you've done in your life. But when you take your hands out of it and you go, here, wait, I'm going to finish this today. And who knows, you may not finish everything. Have you ever had that to-do list that just keeps going? And out of the 10 things, you get 2 things done, but for some reason, it just feels like you learned so much and did so much great work with just those 2 to-do things to do. So then you release and let it go, and you learn. This is called the FIT process: focus, integrate, transform, and thrive. This is all around the concept of building goals, building what you are doing in your projects. That last T, FITT, that last T is about thriving, finding what you are doing that is right. So maybe I didn't finish my 10 things I thought I was going to do today, but the first 2 I got done, and what I learned from it. Now, this is where you're starting to get your release out of the, like having to get things done. Where did I quantum leap? Okay, maybe nothing yet today, but what did I do differently that I didn't even recognize I needed to do? That's an important question. So go in this direction. Write some stuff in your journal about your projects, about what you want to do, because it'll get you in the direction of finishing a project that you didn't even know you were going to fully finish. Because the project starts looking different. Something bigger, badass, bolder becomes something so bright that you thought you could never do. And that is when vulnerability comes in. So keep thinking about where you want your freedom. We've already done fabulous. We've done receive. Now we did vulnerability for our sessions and Unleash Your Moxy Mondays. I hope we served you. We talked about Nelson Mandela's quote in my book, 14 Days to Flat Belly. And look, it's falling apart. But I do have one. If you want one, you just tell me. I'll sign it, send it to you, and get it to you. U Squared was another one of our resources, and this was about opening yourself up to being able to see stuff that you just can't see right now. But opening yourself up, just being and working and creating in a way that you're getting stuff done, but you're opening yourself up. And this can happen even in writing. You think you're going to write about something specific, but then you start writing and something else shows up and becomes bigger, like a beautiful butterfly or even a beautiful rose with all its different layers. And then we used Wake Up and Heal Your Moxy Sexy, Wealthy Life and Business for your first 250,000 in your business. You keep following what we're doing here and Unleash Your Moxy, writing in your journal, being in truth, coming to your nervous system, because we're going to bring in health and wellness through this Unleash Your Moxy. So get ready. Review this. See where this goes for you, what your awarenesses are. I want to tell you, I appreciate you so much. We're going to keep building and building in this Unleash Your Moxy so that we get into truth about life, what we really want. What does the Moxy lifestyle mean to you? If you are tenacious every day, build walls that are beautiful. The paint looks orange and red, which would be my colors. Orange and red and bold and wild. And if you just did that, you just did that, no big deal. But it's easy for yourself. To finish off, this is my special essential oil. Nobody else has it. It's a heart wisdom. There's a little heart there. Tell me if you would like some of this. I can send you some of this. Have an insightful day. I appreciate you so much. Love you. The Unleash Your Moxy way. Woo, woo, woo. Have an insightful day. And I'll see you next Monday, but I'll be around. Add some comments. Let's play with this.